Morning Mauritius, welcome to Inside News. It's our Tuesday morning show, jour de galop. Well, it's not a Tuesday morning show, but it is the workout of Tuesday morning. And as usual, our Tuesday show, we're going to just touch on last week, a little bit of jockey news, our two to follow, and then we're going to get straight back into the training, the barrier trials, and a couple of horses that I spotted throughout the morning's training. Let's talk about Saturday. Well, we did tell you on Friday morning, if you watched On The Mark, that it was a very, very tricky card. And when I went through the results on Sunday, when I was reading my Sunday newspaper, I thought we had quite a good day, myself and Raksha. We tipped a couple of winners. Obviously, we couldn't find Dream Forest. We never mentioned Dream Forest. But then again, I think Dream Forest knocked quite a few people out of the pick 8. In fact, the pick 8 is a carryover. So we'll try and work on that this weekend. But like I said, getting back to myself and Raksha, I think we had a pretty decent day. I think this week's Friday show, we're going to have Shahil back on. And he's going to have to lift his game to try and keep our good run going, because the week before that as well, we also had quite a decent day. So we're having quite a nice time here at Inside News. We're enjoying what we're doing, and hopefully you're enjoying watching our show. And we're going to carry on working hard to try and bring you the winners. Let's talk about the feature race on Saturday. It was the first leg of the 4-year-olds championship. And well, Lee Star just absolutely trounced them. And if you watched our show Tuesday morning and even Friday morning, you would have seen Lee Star's brilliant work leading up to the 4-year-old championship. And obviously we made him quite hard to beat. Although I personally did prefer Oomph, but Lee Star's workout was very, very good. And I think that's a good thing about this show, this Tuesday morning workout. And I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but I did go back and have a look at last week's horses that we showed you in training. And I saw we had 7 runners out of the, I think there was 10 horses that we showed you. 3 of them won. The Thinker ran second. And so I think if you a regular viewer of both shows, Jour de Galop and On The Mark, if you put the 2 shows together, I'm sure you're going to find a couple of winners. So remember, keep watching us, keep sharing us with your friends, and remember, we're working hard to bring you the winners. We're not a tipping site, we just give you our opinion. And like I said, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm sure Raksha and Shahil, well, I spoke to Raksha as well. She said she's loving it. Shahil, he also loves being on here. So we're enjoying what we're doing, and hopefully we're going to carry on bringing you as many winners as possible. Right, let's get on to some jockeys news. As you know, well, you might not know, but Richard Oliver has received a 1-week suspension for his ride on Rahib. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's going to ride this week or maybe postpone it for 1 week. And then Derek David, well, he got fined 25,000 rupees for the same race. He wasn't very happy with the interference caused by Richard Oliver on Rahib, and he had a couple of nasty words to say in the parade ring, and obviously the Stipes weren't happy with his manner in the paddock, and he got a 25,000 rupee fine. The other bit of jockey news is Keenan Steyn, Rajamdin's stable jockey. Well, he's finally arriving tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Keenan Steyn ride in Mauritius. He's a nice guy, very quiet, humble guy. He's a decent rider, and I think he's going to fit into the Rajamdin stable very, very well. I think that's what Raj is lacking. He's lacking feedback in the morning. He's not getting the feedback that he needs to run a stable, and I think Keenan's going to be the right man for the job, and I really look forward to seeing Keenan riding in Mauritius. Like I said, he's a nice guy. He's a decent rider. He's ridden in India, South Africa. He's done quite well, and I believe that he's going to be a major asset to the stable. Right, well, that is the past. Let's talk. No, well, actually, no, it's not the past yet. So we still talk about our 2 to follow. And the first horse I want to talk about is Purple Tractor from the Alan Pedro yard. And let's have a look at his race. He started off as favourite in race 4. He jumped out very quickly, this horse, and he showed a lot of speed. In fact, he got to the front quite easily, and I thought he was travelling very, very well. But the reason why I think he's a horse to follow, just about 20 meters before turning into the home stretch, I noticed that already he started hanging out off that fence. He came into the straight, carried on hanging out, and this is where I think he lost his race. And I honestly believe that Derek David could have maybe, well, not maybe, in my opinion, I think he could have changed his stick a little bit quicker than what he did from the right hand to the left hand. And you'll notice when he does change his stick to the left, his horse does straighten up. But I think the damage was already done, and Dream Forest managed to catch him on the line. I do believe that if Derek had his stick in the left a little bit earlier, he probably would have won the race. Look, it's difficult. I know I was a jockey as well too. I'm not criticising Derek's ride at all. I just believe that he could have probably changed his stick a little bit earlier. Probably would have kept Purple Tractor straighter, and he probably would have hung on as well. He probably wouldn't, but that's just my opinion. Like I said, we're all entitled to our opinions, but I think Purple Tractor next time, he's going to be a very, very tough nut to crack, and I'm going to make him one of my horses to follow. Right, then the second horse I want to talk about is the Thinker. We did speak to him, well, we sort of spoke quite highly about him on Friday, and in fact on last week, Tuesday, he was one of our morning picks, and I thought this horse ran a cracking race in the 4-year-old championship. I personally think he got a little bit sort of, well, the incident on the backstretch with Argo Solo, when Argo Solo hit the rails, the Thinker was behind him, and it definitely cost him a length or two, and Stackhouse had to pull the Thinker off the fence, and then he managed to get him back onto the fence. But one thing I noticed, he sort of like never really quickened up as well as I thought he would, being a horse that's won a couple of sprint races in South Africa. But what I noticed is that he got going late, and he ran a very, very good race to behind Lee Star, and I honestly believe that the Thinker could be a very, very good, well, he'll have a decent chance in the next leg of the championship. Remember, it is a little bit further, and there is going to be a bit of a weight difference with Lee Star as well. So the Thinker, I think he's going to be a big runner in the next leg of the 4-year-old championship. So let's keep an eye on those two. In fact, both of them are worthwhile following for the future. Right, Tuesday morning, as you all know, there's barrier trials. There were 4 this morning, if I'm not mistaken. I think there were 4. Yeah, there were 4, but I just want to talk about 3. I think the one wasn't really worthwhile mentioning. It was just a couple of horses that have run in Mauritius that are just going for reed trials. But I want to go through 3 of them. The first one was Kremlin Captain. He galloped with his stable companion, the Great One, and then Vincent's Alice New Horse, the Cool at Heart. Cool at Heart at the blue jacket, Kremlin Captain with the red jacket, the Great One with the yellow jacket. Kremlin Captain, well, we haven't seen this 13-time winner on the racetrack since October last year, but he was back in action this morning and looking as good as ever. He only raced twice last year, and obviously he has had a couple of soundness issues, and he seemed all right this morning. I thought he looked pretty sound, and I'm looking forward to see Kremlin Captain back. He is a previous champion. It's always nice to see our good horses back in action. Then the Great One. Well, I thought this horse galloped very, very well. Exceptional gallop from this horse. He's a 3-time winner from Cape Town and has brilliant form. One run in particular was a short-head second behind that horse last winter. And if you follow South African racing, you'll know last winter ran second in the Sun Met. And in fact, I think he has now been shipped off to race in Hong Kong. So that's a very, very good run from the Great One. And I thought it was a very good gallop, especially over 1,000 meters, where he in South Africa has performed well over the 1,400 right up to a 1,900. So that was an excellent gallop by the Great One. I think another good horse purchased by the Gajara stable. Then Cool at Heart, possibly one of Vincent Elliot's nicest purchases this year. He's had 3 wins from only 7 starts. He's only a 3-year-old, and I think that he needed this gallop. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Cool at Heart back into the barrier trials. I think they might just think about giving him one more barrier trial because he was pretty green. Right, let's move over to the second one, and we got Together Forever in the green jacket from Simon Jones. He galloped with Beretta Bobcat from Rajamdin. They put a pair of blinkers on him, and there was the new horse Duffield from Vincent Ellis stable. Let's talk about Together Forever. He's been a headache at the stalls, this horse, and obviously he was ordered to repass because he hasn't really behaved. He hasn't been jumping well, and after that very good third, his last start this year, you have to say his last start was a bit disappointing, and I'm happy to report that he jumped quite well today. He stood quietly and he jumped on terms. So let's hope that they've sorted out Together Forever at the start. Then Beretta Bobcat from the Rajamdin stable with a yellow jacket. Well, he's had 2 very average runs here in Mauritius, and the Rajamdin has decided to fit him with a pair of blinkers. And I must say, I was pretty impressed with his work. He was much, much better with the blinkers, and put up a much better gallop. I'm not saying I'm going to run out and have a bet on him next time, but just nice to see that he has improved with those blinkers. And let's see how he runs next time. I'm sure they're going to fit the blinkers with him. And then Duffield, another first-timer from the Vincent Elliott stable. Well, this horse showed a lot of speed. I'm not surprised because he is by that stallion VAR. And only 3 runs in South Africa, which they weren't bad runs. I see he showed a little bit of pace in his last run, but I think this horse probably, like his stable companion Cool at Heart, probably needed the gallop. He had showed a lot of speed and he got tired, and I think that he probably would have needed the gallop and the experience, but he looks like he could be alright, this horse, especially over the 1,000-meter races. Right, then the third barrier trial I want to talk about, there's Boudaoui from the Alan Pedro stable. He's got the yellow jacket. Square the Circle, Gajara stable, the blue jacket, and then Refined Bachelor, another first-timer from Vincent Ellis stable. He's got the green jacket. Let's talk about Boudaoui. Besides that gallop of the Great One this morning, I have to say that this horse was very, very impressive. In fact, one of the most impressive horses I saw on the grass this morning. He's a very likely race 3-year-old who looks to have a bright future, beautiful looking horse. And he's finished behind, very close to that horse, Zodiac Jack. And so that's quite good form. He was bought as a 2-year-old, so he's only going to start his career off he's only going to start off his career off a rating of 21. And I honestly believe that this horse is a lot better than the rating 21. So let's keep an eye on Badawi. I think he's a nice horse for the future. I'm going to keep following him. I believe that this horse could be anything. And then Square the Circle, he's galloped his second consecutive week. And like Badawi, he is a likely raced horse. He's a 3-year-old as well. He's had the 3 starts and all 3 were placed. And I do believe that he's going to be quite nice as horse. He's a very big horse. And I'm just wondering how he's going to handle these turns here, because he is a very tall, leggy horse. But his gallop this morning was pretty decent, and it seems like he's going to manage it okay. And then Refined Bachelor, just like his 2 rivals, he is also a maiden. And he hasn't finished far behind them. He's had 4 places from his 6 starts. And just like his stable companions that galloped early on, he too just seemed to have needed these workouts. Still a bit green, and I'm sure they're going to come on a lot from these gallops. All 3 of Vincent's horses, I do believe that they all needed it, and I'm sure they're going to improve quite a lot. But at the end of the day, out of the 3 barrier trials that we have showed you, there's 2 that really stood out to me was Badawi and then the great one from the Gajara stable. I think these 2 horses are definitely worthwhile keeping an eye on. Right, then let's move into some sand track work, and I think there's 9 horses that I wanted to point out, although some of them did gallop with partners. The first one I'll start off with is Chili Con Carne and Hard Day's Night. They worked together and both in still very, very good form after their very good races last time. Remember, Chili Con Carne ran that great second. He was caught 1 off the whole way, and I still thought it was a very, very good run. In fact, it was Shahil's tip of the day, and I thought he was a little bit unlucky to run second. He couldn't get cover, and it was an exceptional run. I can tell you that he's improved. He's made that natural improvement after that run, and he's in top form. And then obviously Hard Day's Night, well, he just looks like he's regained his South African form. He's on top of his game. He's in top form. He's still in top form, and I think that probably next time he'll be a tough nut to crack once again. Right, then we're going to move over to Raj Ramdin's stable, where Sarah's Secret worked with Blunderbuss, and Sarah's Secret works on the outside. I thought he worked very, very well this morning, and you have to say, well, he is one of our 2 to follow from previous meetings, and you have to say that he's in very, very good form. Unfortunately, he had that bad draw last time, and I think that's the only thing that beat him, was that bad draw. You know, he likes to race up front, this horse. Couldn't get there, but I thought he was given a very good ride by Riaz Hulash, and he's in top form, not as usual, but he's keeping his form. And I think that Sarah's Secret, judging from this morning's workout, he's very, very well. And hopefully, with a decent draw next time, he could give Roger a winner. Right, then let's move over to Simon Jonesdale, where we watched Flower Blue. He worked alongside Imperial Dancer. Well, he was actually much stronger than Imperial Dancer, and he made easy work of it this morning. He was a beaten favourite last time, but I think he did have excuses. Remember, he was scratched the week before where he had fallen down, and has to be said, I don't think he was given the best ride by Jockey Mina, and I do believe that this horse is in a lot better form. He's much better from that run, and I think even though he was a beaten favourite last time, if you did have a bet on him and you're a little bit angry, well, maybe you can try and get your money back the next time he runs. He's in top form, this horse, Flower Blue. I do believe he's a big runner next time out. Right, then back to the Rameshwar Gajra stable, where we saw Orange Tractor. He worked with Declarator, and they both went well this morning, and Orange Tractor seems to be back to his best form from last year, where he did run second to Hard Day's Night. Remember, it was level weights on that occasion. He didn't really do much since then until obviously this year, where his debut run was a very, very good win, and he's still holding that form. And let's hope Orange Tractor is back to his best, because I believe that he's a nice horse, especially like I mentioned. You can't take away that run behind Hard Day's Night off the level weights. It was an excellent run. Then Declarator, well, he's had 2 runs this year, both been very, very good runs, and unfortunately both times he hasn't been able to lead. As you all know, the Declarator likes to lead, and he's been caught 1 off on both his starts, and I just believe that maybe with a better draw, a little bit more speed, if he gets to the front, he's going to be tough to catch. So both these horses are in very, very good form, and I think they're both worth following next time out. Right, let's go to Gilbert stable where we saw the big chestnut with the white face, Blazing Heart. And this horse just seems to be improving week by week. And I know he was heavily backed first time out to favourite when Pravesh Aril rode him. I must be honest, I wasn't very confident with his chances on that day. He just looked a little bit big and a little bit sluggish to me. But now I'm starting to see that he is improving. He's lost a bit of condition. He's looking a lot fitter. He's built up a lot more muscle. And I'd love to see this horse in a 0.25 over maybe 1850. I would imagine the 1850s are going to start soon. And this horse in a 0.25 over 1850, I think he's going to be very, very hard to beat. Like I said, he's improving all the time and looks like he's now ready to pounce Blazing Heart. Very, very good workout this morning. All right, we'll stay with the Reset Yard and we're going to talk about one of my favorite horses, Scott's Nog. And very, very nice workout this morning from Scott's Nog. As you all know, he's not the best worker, but he looks like he's in top form. He's in good condition. The old Scott's Nog the Scott's Nog of old. And nice to see that he's back to his best. And you have to say, last time he had a very, very tough race from that bad draw. And he did a lot early on, and obviously he faded that last 100 meters. And I think we can draw a line through that run. I think Robbie Frad, if he gets to ride him from a decent draw, Scott's Nog always gives over his best. And he's in very, very good form. And I'd like to see him run next time. Hopefully he wins because, like I said, he is one of my favorite horses in Mauritius. Right, let's move over to Alan Pedro's stable where we watched Jolly Roger work. And like last week when I mentioned the pick of the morning was Lee Starr's work, for me this was the pick of the morning, Jolly Roger. He worked very, very well. And I know he's won his last two, but I did say to you that this horse just seems like he needed some confidence. And he's won 2 races now. It looks like he's gained a lot of confidence. I don't think that Jolly Roger is going to stop after these 2 wins, especially from this morning's workout. I think that Jolly Roger is in top form. He's got that confidence that we spoke about. I don't know if you remember me telling you that Donovan Mansour told me one morning he really rated this horse, but he wasn't really doing anything. And now he's turned the corner, and I think that Jolly Roger is more than capable of scoring the hat-trick. Right, then back to Raj Ramdeen stable where we saw In the Trenches. He's in very, very good form, this horse. Unfortunately, I think, in my opinion, the only thing that beat him last time was that bad draw. He had a bad draw. He did quite a lot to get over. He still managed to run a good second behind G-Stud, and that was a very, very good run. And hopefully, well, I know that he is running this week. He's running this week, and Keenan Stein would be riding him. So hopefully this horse provides Keenan and Raj with a needed win. And like I said, he's in very, very good form. And hopefully he gets a draw. And I think that this horse could take quite a lot of beating, especially in those 0.25s. That's In the Trenches. Right, then the last horse I want to talk about is Barak Lavan. Remember, he is one of our 2 to follow as well. So I've been keeping an eye on him. And well, he's been doing quite well this horse in his training, and his work has been very, very good. Remember, he ran a very good second to Wave Break in that 1,000 meters. And if you go back to his South African form, his only one win was over 1,600. So obviously that 1,000 was going to be a little bit short for him. Well, in fact, it was probably going to be a lot short for him. And hopefully Barak Lavan won't be needing his second run, because I've noticed quite a lot of the sort of longer distance horses or middle distance horses running over the sprint are running very good races first time up in the 1,000 meters, but then they're just flattening out that second start. So let's hope he doesn't, because it's nice to see that the Shirish Narang stable is starting to turn. The horses are running better, and hopefully that this horse provides them with a second wind as well. So that's Barak Lavan. I'm expecting a nice run from this horse. He's got a beautiful action. Looks like a nice horse, and hopefully he runs well for this stable. Right, well, that's all we have for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it's helped you. Like I said, Friday morning we've got our show On the Mark. We're going to have Shahil with us, and we're going to talk about the horses running. Obviously, we're going to preview the card. And like I said, I think it's a very good idea if you put Tuesday show and Friday show together. Watch it together if you've got the time before you make your selections. Thanks again for joining us. Remember, we'll see you on Friday morning. Goodbye.